Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness. Tonight we have what's it called? Aganzarax. I don't know who comes up with these names for these dragons. I honestly don't. It seems to be all the dragons have these names I can't pronounce. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Honestly. Okay, I'm going to say hello to everybody in chat. We have Michelle. We got Scorpion's chat. The Bulge Gems in chat. Gareth, the Star Wars man, was in chat. Very good stream last night, Gareth, the Star Wars man, by the way. Or should I say, very good stream at 3:30 in the morning. Rod's in chat. Hello, Rod. And H&H Mini's in the house. And Stuart's in the house. And that's, I think Antal. Anyway, so today we're going to do a little quick speed paint on this little dragon here. As you can see, I got Mr. Forescale at the bottom there, so you can see he's quite a menacing sized dragon. Now what I've also done is I've already glued the dragon to a base boss 120mm base boss base. Base boss base is absolutely awesome stuff. They are going to be doing a Kickstarter soon, so I think maybe some people in chat will be able to tell you more of the dates maybe. Now what I've done for the base as well, as you can see, I've added some rubble. Now I don't know if any of you have heard of a company called Hearst Arts. Hearst Arts make molds out of plaster for plaster of Paris, and that's a USA based company. Just type in Hearst Arts molds, and they do a lovely selection of silicone molds which you can make your own bricks and buildings, and I've been using them for years and years and years. Absolutely great fun to make your own buildings. But what I do, I just break up the little parts and just add them to the base of the mini, as you can see here, and it just gives a little bit more rubble to the base. Like I say, it's a very simple mini. What I will say before we start, this miniature was from the Bones 5 Kickstarter. Now I don't know if many of you in chat, I know a few of you have got this miniature. I don't know if you've had the same problem as I have, but this miniature putting together is probably one of the worst dragons I've had, and I'm not trying to, the actual, once you've got the miniature together, it's a beautiful, beautiful dragon. But I had so much trouble on the back here trying to get the tail into the slots. It's a multi-part kit, of course. But what I've had to do is kind of force the tail in, and the arm here was supposed to go into that rock, but no matter what I did, even trying the old hot water and cold water effect, I could not get the miniature to sit comfortably into the proper fittings for this miniature. So what I've had to do is use my plastic putty from Vallejo. And I don't know if you can see, because hopefully I've done a good enough job, but on the tail there I've had to fill in a little gap on the tail there, and what I've done, I've actually snipped off the part that goes into this rock, so it looks like the claw is just off the rock instead of attached to the rock. So what happened, I had to fill in a few gaps with the Vallejo putty, but it's worked out okay. But straight, yes, Gareth, it's very, very difficult. but the only way to fix it, like I say, with the Vleco putty, that did the job fantastic. But it was very, very awkward. I could not understand why it wasn't fitting properly, and there didn't seem to be a cure. There wasn't a cure to the problem. Okay, so let's get some paint on the palette and let's get started. Now, I've got the Mini on my little wheel of pain here, so we'll just keep it spinning around. What I've got today for colours, we've got some Tempest Grey, we have Dragon White, we got some Twilight Purple, we got some Witchcraft Purple, we got some Runic Purple, we got Dragon Black. Now the Dragon Black is what I primed the whole miniature before the show, so Dragon Black was there. And of course we got my Mossy Green, and we got some Cat's Eye Green here. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to start on the base first and work our way up. As you probably guessed by the colour choices, I'm going for a purple dragon today. Because we have used this beautiful Dragon Black, I am going to utilise the black for my shading, so there's not going to be much paint at all on the underbellies, under the wings. We're going to use it as a nice light source coming down to the purples, and then the rest will be nice and dark, because that's how I like my minis. You had the same problem as well, Bull GM. It was very, very annoying. I just wasn't able to fix it, and I tried bending the miniature into shape using the hot water method, but there was no movement at all. It wasn't happening. Thank you for subscribing, Painterly Git. Nice to see you as well. Hope you're okay. Now I'm putting some Dragon White, and I am putting the Tempest Grey on my palette. What we'll do is we shall start with the bottom and zoom around and work our way up like a little spiral. I'll see if I can put this tissue under the spinny wheel. There you go. Now I'm just using a larger brush, and I'm going to keep the miniature just in the centre here, and we'll just keep on spinning around as we go. So we're starting off with the darkest colours, and we'll just fly around this miniature. Yeah, I got to be careful because some of these little parts are still a little bit loose, because I only did the base earlier today, and it's been very cold in Scotland, so things aren't drying as fast as normal. I've still got a little bit of the black primer that I put on, Dragon Black. That's still a little bit wet, so I have to be careful on some of the areas, but we shall work our way around it. It'll be fine. Yes, we're all having a good day here. It's absolutely pouring down with rain today. It's quite strange because I was talking to my mum earlier today, and I normally go for muffins on a Friday. I normally go for muffins on a Friday with my dad. We go for muffin hunting. It sounds terrible, but we the cake muffins. So we go we go for our muffins every Friday. Anyway, I said to my mum earlier today, I said, oh, I'll tell you what I'll do. Instead of me and Dad going for our muffin run tomorrow, I'll cycle over on my bike and see you. And of course, it's absolutely pissing down with rain now. So I probably won't be cycling over tomorrow, because when it rains in Scotland, it normally rains for a couple of days. Now this building here has got some nice vines, and so we'll be painting all those in green. But we just want to keep on going around at the minute and just add in this nice grey to all the rubble areas, just picking out all the detail. I highly suggest getting one of these little wheeler panes, as I call them. This one came with my airbrush set. You can buy them separately. It's just a little wheelie thing. You can get really nice wheels, spinny wheels as I call them, for pottery. If you type in pottery wheel, you can get quite some cheap pottery wheels, and they're fantastic for painting larger miniatures on. So you can just do what I'm doing here, just spin the mini around as you go. It makes life a little bit easier, because when you get such a large scale miniature, you don't want to be kind of holding it in one hand. It's nice just to be able to spin it around and add that paint as you go. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding, that little rock there is loose, so I've got to be careful on that one. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the grey now, so we start highlighting the rocks a little bit more. It's just a tiny bit of white, and we just go around in rotation and just keep the highlights coming onto the rocks. And we're doing the whole of the base. And of course I added gravel and sand to the base using PVA glue. So I just used some PVA glue just to add a little bit of texture to the base. And of course I've used those Hearst Arts molds for the little rocks there. And what I'm doing, I'm just hitting all the highest areas. Like I say, I'm using the black to full advantage again today. Like I use my browns, the black is really giving off a nice gothic feel to the rock. And we're not going too far up. I'm trying to keep the center of this base as dark as possible by having that black. So we're just highlighting areas that maybe the light might be shining on. Okay, I'm adding a little bit more white and we'll keep on spinning around. Hello, Nath. Yes, Bull GM, that's exactly what happened to this one. Now, Bull GM has just said in chat, one of them has still a large gap between the two tail parts. With the other one, the tail fits but does not fit on the piece of ruin. Had to putty a lot to make it look good. That's exactly what I've done with this miniature. I've had to putty the gap here because I had about a 5mm gap. It was nasty. And I just couldn't, I just couldn't get it back into place. I couldn't get it to fit. And I'm not the only one, like I say, who's having these problems with this particular miniature. Once the miniature is together, it's a very beautiful miniature, that's for sure. There's nothing actually wrong with the miniature. It's just actually getting those parts to fit. So be warned, if you buy the miniature in the future, it might be a little bit tricky. Okay, there's not much more I really need to do here. Just going to add a little bit more around the base. What we'll do is we start adding a little bit of green around the base. Okay, wash my brush. As you can see, because we used that black, anytime you use black when you're doing ruins, you'll instantly get a really nice gothic feel to your miniature. If you're using brown, of course, you're going to get a richer feel. But when I paint my dungeons and when I'm making dungeons or gaming boards, I love a gothic feel, so I go straight into the black as my primer coat, because you do get a really nice effect if you want that dark gothic look to your miniatures. Hi Ron M. That's the Goblin Emperor's in the house. My dad. I was just talking about you, Dad. I was just saying, tomorrow, I said to Mum that I would cycle over on the bike, and instead of me and you going out for muffins, I'd cycle over. And of course, 5 minutes after I told Mum that, it absolutely pissed it down here. So we'll see how the weather is in the morning. But if it is dry, I'll still come across on the bike, okay? Because my dad has made gluten-free muffins. He's made me gluten-free muffins, especially for me. So I cannot wait to try the gluten-free muffins. My mum was saying how delicious they were. So yeah, I need to get over there before my mum eats them all. That's the problem. There's no way Mummy's eating my muffins. Oh dear. Okay, let me carry on. Excuse the chat then. And Gareth the Star Wars man is talking about using a heat gun on his Reaper Bones miniatures. I'll enjoy seeing the melted heap once it's finished. Okay, with the green, I'm just going around all the edges. Now, you all know how much I love adding my green to my miniatures. It instantly gives a little bit of colour, of course, but it also makes the whole miniature look old and more ancient. Claire doesn't get normal muffins. She gets gluten-free muffins. So we're just going to all the most deepest parts and just adding this green. And there's just certain areas around the steps, around the recesses here. I hope you can see everything okay. It's quite a large miniature, so I do hope the picture is okay. Yeah, keep that car warm, Dad. I mean, it's all good and well me saying I'm going to cycle across to you, but I got to tell my legs to do that in the morning as well. My legs like, no, just he can come in the car and you can still have muffins. Oh. Okay. Right, what we're going to do, there's vines here. Now with the vines, what I'm going to do, I'll just quickly wash my brush. With the vines, we're actually going to paint the vines. So what we're going to do here, I don't know if you can see okay. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer on the space here. There's a little bit better. That's not my brush. There you go. I'm using a number 2 brush. These are the Reaper Pro brushes. Great little brushes. Like I say, they're a little bit more expensive than the armor painted brushes, but they are very, very nice, I have to say. So what I'm doing here is I am just adding paint to the vines that are going around this miniature, just nice and fast. Now it doesn't matter. Thank you for following, Marshall. Now it doesn't matter if you make a mess of these, because we are going over with another layer of paint. What we're looking for on the vines is that dark colour. So of course what I've used is mossy green for the vines to begin with, and we just follow the vines across. Now I am actually using the side of my table to support my hand here. I'll show you, it's just like that. My hand here, I got the palm of my hand is just resting on this table, so even though I'm doing freehand, I still have support. I'm using my one hand to spin the wheel, but my table is being used to support my hand. I don't recommend painting with your hand free like this. You still need that support. So I'm using the table to actually help support what I'm doing. So that's quite important to keep in mind when you're painting. If you want to have a steady hand, just try and use whatever's available to try and give yourself a more steady approach to your miniature. And it also makes you paint faster as well, because you got more control of the brush, because the table is actually supporting my whole hand. So just flying around, getting all these little vines done. And once again, because we've got that initial black, we've already got the shading on this miniature. We don't have to worry about any shading because that black is there. There's some little roots around the floor here, so we can just quickly go around. And there's one right at the back going down the wall there, so I'll just quickly go in there. Just follow the root down. Lovely. Okay, so what I want to do now is wash my brush, and we can just quickly highlight those roots. Now I'm going to use Cat's Eye Green. Now all these paints are from MSP, Reaper Miniatures. Yes, Michelle, we are. Anybody in chat, if you well, you all follow me anyway. But if there's any lurkers watching, you don't have to follow, and you don't have to join in chat. I am definitely a quiet person myself. I watch a lot of Twitch streams, and I don't say anything. The only time I talk is when I watch Gareth the Star Wars Man stream, and the rest of the time I'm just in the background just watching, and I normally paint as I watch the stream. But what I was going to say was, once I get to the 700 followers, that beautiful painted dragon above will be given away to one lucky person in chat, and it will be posted worldwide free of charge. So yeah, tell your friends, join the channel, enjoy the fun. Okay, what we have here is we have the Cat's Eye Green. I'm actually going to mix it in a little bit with the mossy green on my tissue here, just to darken it a little bit. And what we're going to do with this is we're just going to add a little bit to the tops of these vines. It's just to add a little bit more of a colour. I mean, it might not even be noticeable to you on camera because it's so far away, but just on the top areas, it's just like a highlight with a green. It's a very nice effect. Okay, just quick freehand, just the top of the vines where the light would be shining. It just makes the vines stand out a little bit more from the rest of the miniature. We don't want the vines to be overpowering, but we want to be able to know there's vines creeping around this miniature. So it's just a little bit here and there, just to show where the vines are. A little bit on the top there. A bit more just there. And just touch up the top here. What you'll find as well is once this green dries, it blends in with the actual part you're painting. So there we are. That's as simple as it gets for painting the actual base of this miniature. There's a little vine there I missed. Just a little bit there. Okay, so let's make a start on the actual dragon itself. Now we are going for purples for this beautiful little dragon. Now we're going to start off with the twilight purple. what I might do is just have twilight purple and start adding white to the twilight purple. It's all good and well having all the different shades of purples, but all you need to do to make a lighter purple is actually add dragon white to your initial dark purple. It's as simple as that's as simple as it gets. Okay, filling up my palette with the purple would help if it comes out of the pot. Now, I'll explain something about these pots as well. What you'll find is a lot of the time the pots, even though you've given it a good mix, they need clearing. That's why we got these little pokey sticks from Reaper Miniatures. And you can use these pokey sticks, you can use them for your army painter paints, and you can use them for your Valeco paints. Any dropper bottle, the little pokey sticks, these are a godsend. But what you'll find, even when you do the little pokey stick, sometimes the paint won't go through, and what sometimes happens is each of these pots has a little plastic ball. Thank you for the cheer. They have a little plastic ball inside the pot, and what happens, they can the ball can actually dry inside and be stuck at the top of your dropper bottle. Or you could have an empty bottle of paint like I got. and that's why the paint don't come out. But they know me. Pokey stick. Yes, but what it is, you have a little plastic ball that helps to mix the paints, and that often gets stuck in the nozzle. So you've got to give it a good little pokey with the pokey stick. Okay, let's make a start on the dragon. It won't take us long to fly through with the actual purple. I'll probably have to add a little bit more purple. Again, adding it to my tissue. And as I always say, when we're doing purple, when we're working with scales, we always work up the scales. Let me see if I can get this picture. Black is quite difficult to show. There we go. And what we're going to do is just go over the whole miniature, going up the miniature over the scales. And I am going to keep it very, very dark because I do love the black. We're not going all the way. We're not going all the way under the. Thank you for following, Volio 14. We're not going to go all the way under the dragon. I'm going to use that black as a shade underneath. We're going very dark today. In fact, all my miniatures we're going very dark. It seems to be my favourite way to paint miniatures. Now, purple and black is probably two perfect combinations. Purple is a fantastic colour to work with black, of course. So when you're painting dragons and you do a black, you can really get a nice effect by using the purple. And of course, purple is my sculptor's favourite colour, so I'm not even going to paint inside the wings. I want that all nice and dark, but we shall be doing a lot of work on the back of the wings. So we shall be adding a nice little shade there. Now we're going quite heavy with the first initial coat, and as I say before, when you are painting scales on any dragon, you go up the scales, never go down, you go up, so you're keeping that dark shade in all the parts of the scales there. So you've got the black at the top, and then we work our way down with the actual purple. And someone's started a hype train up there. Very, very nice. Very nice. Now, all my miniatures, I always work my miniature and I imagine that the sun is shining down. Thank you for subscribing, Estrogene. I always imagine the sun shining down on my miniature. So what I try to do, I base all my miniatures that the shadows, like I say, you got the shadows under the wings, the shadows under the belly, so that they're the areas that are the darkest areas. And of course, the rest of the miniature, then I'll work lighter tones across the whole miniature. The top of the head, of course, will have that extra highlighting, and the top of the wings are extra highlighting. And what will happen is that will work nicer when the miniature is actually finished. I mean, certain parts of this miniature, like I say, you don't even have to paint because we are going for such a dark colour scheme. But what we'll do now is we'll work on the wings, because we've got a lovely picture of the wings there. The light's just shining them up. So we'll just go up over the wings, and we'll go, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. So we're keeping it black underneath, just a nice even coat going across, just letting the brush go across the back of the wing, so the purple is just hitting all the highest areas, quite heavy. Just keeping it going nice and even all the way. There you go, beautiful. There, lovely. And the same on the other wing, starting at the bottom, just working our way up, nice and even over the whole miniature, not too hard on the pressure of the brush. You just want to get a nice feeling of purple going over the whole of the back of the wing. And this is such a simple way to make your dragon look fantastic for the tabletop. A very simple paint, but works really well. It's very enjoyable to paint like this. Okay, so we've got our initial back layer on there. Look, that's lovely. I think you can see all that. Just want to make sure it's nice and even, just hitting all the highest areas, and you want that black. You want that black to be popping through the purple. Oh yes, let's see it better like this. Okay, so you got all the black coming through beautifully. Now what we need to do, because these wings are flapping, because the wings are flapping, we need to highlight the membranes in the middle. So all we're going to do for that is I'm going to add a little bit of my dragon white to that purple that I've used, and we're just going to start making it a little bit lighter, a little bit more purple, adding it to my tissue there. So we've just got a little bit of dragon white added to the twilight purple, and what we're going to do is just go to the highest membranes and just slowly start pulling the brush up. This will pick out the highest areas again, but it will give us a highlight in the middle of those membranes, like so. Nothing too major, just working our way up, just keeping away from the fingers. We're keeping it into the complete center of each of these wings, and I'm using a huge brush. If I can do it with a huge brush, you can do it with any brush in the house. I'm just doing this quickly with a big brush, so I like to do my speed painting, and that's why I like to use the big brushes to get the job done. So we're just working on those middle sections, and again on the other side. If you are finding it's too light, you can go over these wings with a black ink wash. In fact, I would highly recommend you do. Once you've finished your purples, you can go over the whole miniature with a black ink wash, because that also gives a lovely effect to the actual wings as well. And then of course you can go back over with the purple again. Now what I'm going to do now, that's all I need to do for those wings. It's as simple as that. I've gone over with a dark purple, I've added a lighter purple just to the membranes, and it's got the desired effect that I want. So what I'll do now is I'll go back onto the scales again using the lighter brush, and we'll just pick out the highest areas, and that'll just give the tip of each scale a little highlight of purple on the back. There we are, simple as that. Okay, we'll move to the front again. Again, we're going back into the purple, adding a little bit of the dragon white. Hello, James McCoy. I'm glad to see you in chat, and I hope you get things sorted. I know life is crazy at the moment, but I do wish you the best of whatever you do. You're definitely a good friend of mine, that's for sure. Okay, so going to working on top of the head now, so we'll move up a little bit more. Now, as you can see, I'll just quickly give you a 360. All we've done is added a few little layers of purple, and we're just going over the highlights, like on the scales here. Now, I've already gone over. Good. That's always good to boost morale. Any Lord of the Rings film is good to. Well, actually, I'll take that back. The first 3 Lord of the Rings films are good to boost morale. If you watch the last Hobbit film, then then you'll go back into depression again. Sorry, had to be said. The CGI fest that is the 5 armies. Good towel. Okay, let me get back. I was trying to explain things. Yes, we're just going over the scales in certain areas. You're just picking out certain areas and just watching where the light shines down. So again, we'll go back to the head of the miniature now, and we'll just pick out the actual just pick out the top of the nose. As you can see, just adding that light there. I mean, this is actually a very, very nice miniature. Apart from the problems I had sticking the miniature together, it's a beautiful miniature. It's a nice size. It's not overbearing. It's not too big. I mean, there we are. We got Sephora scale there. Sephora scale looks tiny in comparison to the miniature, but I think the angle of this camera is actually making it look smaller. And then again, I'd say it's about 10 inches high, maybe, this miniature. Maybe 9 inches, 10 inches. I'm not sure. Yes, you could. Hello, Tim. Yes, the first Hobbit film. Oh, we're going into discussion now. Everybody, excuse me, going into discussion about Lord of the Rings now. The first Hobbit film I really enjoyed the first Hobbit film, and I really enjoyed the second Hobbit film. But the last one, I've watched it once. I mean, for me to watch a Lord of the Rings film once is awful. I mean, I've watched Lord of the Rings hundreds of times over the years. But the last Hobbit film, I don't know. It just, I mean, Legolas for a start. The whole thing could have easily been 2 films. Yes, it could. It was just. I'm not gonna say too much on a live stream about it, apart from it was crap. I was not impressed. It was heartbreaking. Okay, so we're just adding more purple on the edges here. I will be going over with the blacks. But we just want to try and get a little bit of light. I mean, I'm not going for the full-on a full-on purple all over. Like I say, I'm trying to use the black to my advantage, and it's working. I've got the shades. I mean, as you can see, that's nice and dark under there. The belly's lovely and dark, and that's how I want this miniature to look. And we're just picking out certain areas of the scales, like here it's coming out lovely just there, and going on the neck. Thank you for following, Jander Eve. Okay, now then, what we need to do now, it's like all the little tail fins here, we're going to keep those black. What we'll do is we'll start working on the teeth. What I'm going to do with the teeth is I'm just going to go straight into the dragon white. Let me just make a little clear up and drink a little bit of my Ribena wine. Thank you, Rod. I hope everybody is enjoying the show today. I do love painting the dragons. Like I say, if I don't answer all your questions in chat, you'll have to excuse me. I'm like Gareth the Star Wars man when he does this show. We end up going into the zone. So okay, let me just grab a smaller brush for the teeth. What I'll do is I'll go down to a number 1 brush. What we got here? There we go, that's my number 1s. Now, like I say, I'm really enjoying the old Reaper brushes. So, what we do here is we just start adding some work on the teeth. I'll move this out of the way. The last time I did a dragon, I put my hand in the tissue and I had paint everywhere. Now, the eyeballs are here. The eyeballs are here because they're there. Now, with the teeth on this miniature, I've noticed they're quite tricky because, oh, 1 second, I need to put more, my dragon white is a little bit pasty. I need to put some fresh on my palette. When you're doing eyes and teeth, you want to make sure you do keep the paint as wet as possible. My dragon white had been sitting there a while, so it started to dry, and that's the last thing you want when you're painting eyes and teeth. Yes, it's very difficult. This miniature actually is quite hard to see what's teeth, what are the teethies, and what's part of the flesh. It's got quite a. It's not your normal set of teeth on this dragon. Okay. See, I don't know if that's a tooth there or a piece of the flesh. It's weird. There we are, very simple. Now, for the teeth, what I'll do with the teeth, once that has dried, all we need to do with the teeth is just put a nice little brown ink wash over the teeth, and that'll make the teeth look all nice and gooey and nasty. Okay, what we'll do is the eyes now. And for the eyes, again, I'm going to find a smaller brush for the eyes because they're quite small on this miniature. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. There you go. What size is this one? Oh, this is a 0. Got a 0. Got a lovely point on it, so perfect for a little eyeball. Let's see if I can do this first time. There we go. Just get the eye in there. Yep, done. One little eyeball in place. Now, because it's dark, I'm gonna have to move the miniature so I can actually see the other eye. This is the only thing with painting with black, is it does make it difficult to see what you're doing. Yeah, there's the other little eyeball in. I bet you can't even see those little eyeballs, are so small. Just there. I am painting a purple dragon right now, just taking too long to paint the pink and teal highlights. No quick paint with mine. No, I don't try to make anybody rush their painting. I speed paint, and I paint a lot of miniatures every single week. It's a habit, and it's something I actually love doing. Speed painting a miniature and seeing how fast I can kind of paint a miniature, but still keep that miniature looking nice for your tabletop. I mean, there's a big difference in speed painting and then speed painting and having a blob of paint on a miniature. So what I'm trying to do is show everybody that you can paint a miniature in an hour or 2 hours, and you can have a nice acceptable miniature for your tabletop. And if I can give some inspiration to any of you in chat to paint your miniatures, unless you're Tal, of course. But if I can give inspiration to anybody for painting their miniatures, then my job is done, you know. That's what it's all about. Okay, so for the for the for the teeth, we're going to use some Aganzarax Earthshade. Again, with your ink washes, they all need mixing as well. Yeah, he is, isn't he? So I'm just all I'm doing with the teeth is I'm going to actually take a little. I've got a little cotton bud here, and I'm using quite a small brush. I'm using the number 2 brush again by Reaper, and we'll just go over those teeth. And they instantly get a lovely little shade going around the teeth. Dragon white is much too bright for a dragon's teeth. There's no way this dragon flosses every day. You know what I mean? So you need to you need to add a little bit of gunk to these teeth. But by adding a dragon white and then adding a nice little brown ink wash, you get a lovely little effect, and you can just dab your little cotton bud. I'll take the excess off and just give a little bit of white to shine through the teeth, but it just tones it down because the dragon white is much too bright for what you're doing. Now let's work on the little eyeballs. Now for the eyeballs, I think we need a bright colour. What can we use? What about orange eyeballs? What about some glowy sunrise orange eyeballs? Because we've got that initial white, we can actually make the eyeballs pop with a little bit of sunrise orange. That'd be nice. And then we'll see if we can get a little pupil in there afterwards. Nath is saying dragons are very intelligent, so should they not take good care of their teeth? I'm just imagining a dragon there, you know, going. Hello, crafty Tibbles. Let's see if we can get some of this orange out of the pot. There you go. No tiny weeny bits. Okay, put the lid back on. Now, if there are any Lord of the Rings fans out there today, tomorrow night is when I do my new stream. My new stream is the Lord of the Rings streams. I've been doing it for the last couple of weeks now. I am working on the Fell Beast. From the original Two Towers. So if you like your Lord of the Rings, you'll enjoy the painting that I do on Fridays. It's all the old original Lord of the Rings miniatures for my own personal collection, which is awesome stuff. Oh, this orange looks nice. Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay, let's just get that one in there. Beautiful. Okay. I don't know if you can see that properly. You can see I don't know if you can see the tiniest of eye I've put in there. It looks lovely. It looks lovely. You can't see it, but it does look lovely. Human bones as toothpicks. Awesome, Tal. Yes. Oh, can you imagine it? Okay, what we're going to do now is we are going to put that pupil in. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Dragon Black. Now, I can't recommend these two colours more than anything. Dragon Black and Dragon White by MSP Paints. They're perfect for primers, and they're just the perfect white and black. Absolutely awesome paints. Really nice paints. I mean, I do like paints from all the companies, but hands down the MSP line of paints is definitely my favourite paints. You can tell because they're everywhere. But I do use Army Paint, I do use Games Workshop. But with the Games Workshop paints, it's only the ink washes. I'm really just an ink wash fan for the Games Workshop paints. Now, okay, what we're going to do, I'm not fussed about the brush. We're using a zero brush, and we're going for a micro dot. I have got smaller brushes, but you really don't need a... What I'm trying to say is, you don't need the smallest tip of a brush. I found that out over the last few years. All you need is a good tip on your brush. See that tip there? That's tiny super point tip. That's absolutely perfect for what we need. So what we're trying to do is put the tiniest dot of paint on that brush, go straight in, and boom, we're done. Simple as that, and the eye is done. And again, on this side, it's going to be a bit more difficult because I've got to lift this up, but we go straight in, a tiniest dot on the end of the paintbrush, boom, done. Absolutely awesome. But that's... So what you need is not so much the size of the brush, it's having that perfect point to the brush. You could actually have a smaller brush, but if that point of the brush is a little bit off, it's not going to do the job you need. Now, I'm going to show you my super secret how to finish a dragon, because all we need to do now to this dragon to finish it off is we need to make those eyes stand out a little bit more. And what I do with all my miniatures is I use a gloss varnish, believe it or not. Gloss varnish, this is the Vallejo gloss varnish, and I add that either to the teeth, and that'll make them shine, like so the saliva on the teeth, but most importantly, what it'll do, it'll give you a reflection to the eyes on all your miniatures. So again, what we do, we give this a little mix up. And again, it's the most simplest of things. We just add a tiny little bit to your palette. Like I say, this is the gloss varnish from Vallejo. Reaper Miniatures have varnish, Army Painter have varnish. No they're all kind of the same. And what I'm doing, I'm using the same brush, but when you're using varnish, make sure you wash your brush instantly. As soon as you've added that varnish, you wash it off super fast, because varnish is not good for your brushes at all. Okay, so just to finish off this dragon for today, we've got the little eye there, and we just add a little bit of gloss varnish over that eye, and what will happen, that will give us a nice little natural kind of reflection from the light. What the pro painters do, I'm talking about pro painters from Reaper now, they'll actually add a reflection in the eye as well, and by doing that, what they'll do is they'll add a little dot of white, a little tiniest dot of white to the eyes. This way, just by adding a little bit of varnish, you're getting exactly the same effect without messing your eye up, adding that white dot. So just a little bit of gloss varnish, you can add that to the teeth like I'm doing here, and definitely add it to the eyes. Right, what I'll do, I'll wash my brush. I'll see if I can do a little zoom in on the head. Okay, just to show you the eye. God, it's difficult. It's difficult. 1 second. Let's see if I can get focus here. I don't know if you can see that. Can you? No. You'll have to trust me on that one. You add the varnish to the eyeball. Add the varnish to the eyeball. So there we are. Hello, Renegade Shank. I'm just about to say goodnight to everybody. So that's how simple it is to paint, speed paint a dragon in under an hour. So I'll give you another quick 360. And a quick rundown. For the base, we used a dark grey. And then added some light greys. We just added some dragon white to the grey, and just added highlights to the rocks. And then of course the whole dragon had dragon black as a primer coat. We then started adding twilight purple to the rest of the dragon. The back of the wings, very simple, twilight purple, just adding some dragon white to the twilight purple, couple of layers of the dry brushing going across the back of the wings, gives the desired effects. The same on the top of the head. We have used the black primer coat to our advantage. That has given us shade all over the dragon, and all the highest areas where the light will be shining, we've actually got a light source.